Think for yourself. Question authority.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Now we are going to talk about the enhanced, more powerful Nintendo Switch, which appears to be reconfirmed, or basically we got more evidence that a new, more powerful Switch is coming for sure because of what has just been revealed with the Switch Lite and the Switch Revision. Spawnwave did a teardown of the Switch Lite and the Switch Revision last month and just a couple days ago for the Switch Lite, and it was revealed that the LCD screen for the Switch Lite is not a sharp IGZO screen. It is basically what you'd expect, a low cost, kind of, low budget LCD screen by Innolux. And if you're not familiar with Innolux, I can't blame you, because they're basically an unknown company pretty much that provides LCD screens for really cheap. You can buy these on AliExpress for $5, even up to maybe $30 for even some of their 4K LCD screens for cell phone replacements, basically. So these screens that Nintendo are using on the Switch Lite and the Switch Revision are not very expensive to purchase for them, obviously, and they are very cost effective, but they do get the job done. The screens look good enough and bright enough to work on the Switch and Switch Lite. But remember, just recently, back in August, the Wall Street Journal reported that Sharp has inked a deal with Nintendo to provide their top quality premium brand IGZO displays for the Nintendo Switch going forward. And it was also reported back in March that Nintendo was going to be using Sharp for their LCD screens starting as soon as 2019, which of course is this year. So the rumors for an enhanced, more powerful Nintendo Switch have been going on since 2018, and they continue to go on right now, and they've been going on all throughout 2019. And now we have legit solid evidence that yes, Nintendo is most definitely working on a new, more powerful Switch, yet to be announced, yet to be revealed, that is going to use an awesome brand new sharp IGZO screen, which can eliminate bezels and have Ultra HD resolution capability. That would obviously make games look a lot better running in portable mode, but also they just released recently that patent for new Joy-Cons, which we talked about in my last video, about these having brand new IR sensors, which could read incoming and outgoing infrared light on these brand new Joy-Cons that they patented. And just recently, in the last week, Nintendo has various other patents that they have made public. So something definitely is going on here, of course, as we've been talking about for the past year for Nintendo. They're getting ready for something big here. And sharp IGZO displays is no joke. This is not a small upgrade. This is a huge upgrade for the Nintendo Switch and this new console that they're working on. And as you know, with Nintendo, they don't just release something and not make use of it, especially with something like a screen. So their sharp IGZO display is capable of Ultra HD. So that'd be something like 1440p and up, similar to what some of these iPhones and iPad Pros use currently. And as we talked about in the last video, that this would make sense if they're going in for something with VR, like they also showed for a recent VR patent they had for these goggles that you would use in conjunction with the Nintendo Switch by putting it up to your eyes, just like how they did with Labo, but of course this headset would be made out of plastic. But what's interesting about that, with an IGZO display, using it in 1440p, you would get full HD resolution in each eye, and of course you would need a more powerful system to do that. So all these things, along with those new Joy-Cons that they patented, all line up to Nintendo quite possibly working on a very nice upgrade to the Nintendo Switch hardware. And it's backed up by multiple reports now from the Wall Street Journal that they are doing so. Nintendo's been prototyping a enhanced, more powerful Nintendo Switch, and one using very advanced premium IGZO displays. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a new Switch coming out that has the capability, not necessarily that the games will be targeting at that high resolution, but the capability of VR type displays on the actual screen itself, up to 1440p, for example. As was shown in that patent with the Joy-Cons, they showed a Nintendo Switch with no bezels. A sharp IGZO display would also have the ability to have almost no bezels as well on a screen like that. Now, if you recall back in August when this was originally reported by the Wall Street Journal, I talked about how I did not think that this IGZO display would be for the Switch Lite or for the Switch Revision. And of course, it was misreported on by multiple websites, including websites I respect, like VentureBeat, for example, that even they reported that the Switch Lite could have this sharp IGZO display, and of course that has been debunked. That is not the case, which I did say so back then. It was highly unlikely Nintendo would use any type of display like that because of the extreme amount of cost it would be to have that on the Switch Lite, because Nintendo's looking to decrease cost, not increase cost, and there's no point in doing that with a 720p smaller display for the Switch Lite. It is not a premium device. It is a cost-effective, lower budget Nintendo Switch that is actually missing features like the ability to dock, and of course it doesn't have Joy-Cons, and it's smaller overall. So if you notice on my channel, I have changed of course the intro to say think for yourself, question authority. So this is a good example of why I've done this, is because this stuff continues to happen over and over and over again. Things get misreported on by big websites that are of course bigger than me. Other YouTube channels have also misreported on the exact same info, using these websites that are considered credible to report misinformation that is incorrect about things like this sharp IGZO display, saying that, hey, this is going to be for the Switch Revision or the Switch Lite, when if they actually did their research about this screen, they would have known pretty much without a shadow of a doubt that Nintendo was not going to be using that for the Switch Lite or the Switch Revision. There's pretty much no way they're going to do that, and that was proven correct. So think for yourself. Question authority is a theme I'm going to continue here on this channel, because you're going to continue to see this happen as we go forward. Of course, websites will not do their research. They will report false information, and then in turn, YouTubers who like to basically quote unquote regurgitate the information, telling the news or what have you, not necessarily their fault because they're using websites as their source and they're expecting the websites to do their research when they're not, but they will regurgitate this information and then report it out as fact, when in fact it is incorrect info. What I try to do is my research on the actual topic. I don't just take what these websites report, I do my own research about it, and then I come to my own conclusion. Then I bring it to you guys, and you guys can make your own decision and think for yourself. And like we talked about from that previous Wall Street Journal report, from this sharp IGZO screen that's going to be coming to a new enhanced Switch. This was reported just a few days after Sharp had their financial briefing about their current fiscal year going into 2020. So I do really think that we're going to be seeing an announcement soon by Nintendo, possibly even in 2019, up to the end of March 2020 for a new enhanced Switch. I think it's going to be more powerful. It's going to fix a lot of these issues the Switch is currently having, especially with memory bandwidth. Like games with The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening with its frame rate issues. It was discovered by GameXplain in their technical breakdown that it looks to be a memory bandwidth issue, and this has been a big problem for the Switch ever since it was launched. The Switch uses LPDDR4 RAM, which is very slow and only has 26 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth overall for the system to use. This is drastically slower than what the current generation of consoles uses, and of course going into PS5 generation next year, it's going to be completely outclassed by those systems, and having any types of ports from that generation coming up is going to be pretty much impossible unless they're indie games. So I do 100% expect Nintendo to be announcing a brand new, more powerful Switch that fixes a lot of these issues such as memory bandwidth, low resolution, storage space, and the like for this new console. Because we're seeing here, even in 2019, the trend has continued, guys. The trend has continued ever since the Switch was released in 2017 to 2019. The trend of releasing really old ports has continued, and even Nintendo's own development teams have had difficulty even running their own games on this current Nintendo Switch. Like the before mentioned Link's Awakening, going from 30 frames per second to 60 frames per second, I can guarantee you a new piece of hardware would not have those type of problems. It would most likely blow away a game like that, which quite honestly should not be taxing the system that much. And this is all Unreal Engine 4 stuff. So earlier in the year we also had Yoshi's Crafted World and then Bloodstained on the Nintendo Switch, all running Unreal Engine 4, and each of those games also having performance issues. Not necessarily so much in the frame rate for Yoshi's Crafted World, but they had to actually downgrade the resolution to a point where the game could continue to run at 60 frames per second, all the way down to about 600p on the Nintendo Switch for a side-scrolling game running on Unreal Engine 4. Then of course Bloodstained was even worse. It was running around 720p docked, but all kinds of frame rate issues, stuttering and glitches, and all kinds of problems with that game. People blamed it on the developer, but then you look at a game that's also running on Unreal Engine 4 on the Switch with Link's Awakening Remake also having frame rate issues by Nintendo's own teams. So without a doubt, an upgraded Nintendo Switch would most definitely solve these problems. And then of course you have Platinum Games exclusive Astral Chain to the Nintendo Switch, which is targeting 30 frames per second instead of the usual 60 frames per second that they usually target. And even that game has had frame rate issues going into the low 20 frames per second. And I do think that is the game of the year for the Switch, but I do think it's a little bit unfortunate that it could have been presented in a better light on the hardware, because a game like that would benefit from 60 frames per second. So of course, obviously this new more powerful Switch would solve that issue as well, because you would like all the exclusives on your Nintendo console to run at good frame rates. And if definitely the first party games from Nintendo should not be having frame rate issues. They should be running smoothly, and they should be the shining example of what the system can do. So stuff like Link's Awakening definitely should not be happening. And also for this new Switch, I hope that the trend of these ancient old ports will stop, because it has continued in 2019. In 2019, we've had the 7-year-old Assassin's Creed 3 released on the Switch. We've had the 5-year-old Grid Autosport released on the Switch. We've had the nearly 8-year-old Saints Row the Third released on the Nintendo Switch. And we just had the announced Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is coming out on the Nintendo Switch, which is also about 6 years old now as well, which came out in 2013. So again, these new consoles have already been announced from Sony and Microsoft. That's why you're seeing sales drop off dramatically, and of course you're going to be seeing Switch win the NPD up until those new consoles are released. So the timing here for Nintendo, guys, is critical. They're going to have to release a new, more powerful Switch that can run modern games at a good frame rate and can port games easily to the console. That's just how the industry works. You have to continue moving on with the technology when the rest of the industry moves on with their technology. Developers are, in fact, already making games for next generation, and as you've seen with your own eyes, developers are not making exclusives for the Nintendo Switch, but what they are doing is porting very old games to the Nintendo Switch. So you will see that continue if Nintendo does not release a more powerful Switch that can run modern games from the other systems. You will continue to see these very old ports on the console unless they have some kind of exclusive deal with Nintendo, like how they did with Platinum Games and some of these other companies as well. But overall, you will continue to see very old ports coming to the Switch unless Nintendo does in fact upgrade their hardware. I'm excited though, because we can see already Nintendo has plans to release a more powerful Switch with this really cool, very nice sharp IGZO display. And in order to use that technology to its fullest degree, because that's quite a big investment to have a screen that premium, you're going to have to increase the power of your console to use that premium screen to its full degree to get the most benefit of it, to make the most back from your investment, which means this new Switch is going to be most likely powerful enough to run modern games a lot better, and that should make all Nintendo fans a lot more excited for the future coming from Nintendo. So let me know what you guys want from Nintendo for this new, more powerful Switch in the comment section. Do you want more RAM? Do you want more CPU speed? Do you want more GPU? You want an enhanced suite of features that it can do with its online capabilities, for example? What do you want from this new, more powerful Switch that definitely appears to be coming soon from Nintendo? Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this one, please hit the like button, share it out, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.